The Jedi Council gets a bit of a bad rap from Star Wars fans. It's often treated as a monolith by fans, with its members characterized as stodgy, overly dogmatic, and myopic. But the Jedi Council wasn't a monolith. There was plenty of ideological diversity among the masters of the council. Some Jedi Councilors were more at odds with each other than you might suspect, while others were more alike. In this video, we're going to compare the different personal philosophies of three notable Jedi Councilors: Mace Windu, Anakin Skywalker, and Adi Gallia.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Let's start with Mace Windu. Master Windu is well known among Star Wars fans for his seeming extremism and for his distrust of Anakin Skywalker. But Mace Windu wasn't a simple dogmatist. In fact, his personal philosophy was a good deal different from those of most other Jedi. Here's a passage from the Revenge of the Sith novelization that shines a bit of light on Windu's motivations. Mace, too, has an attachment. Mace has a secret love. Mace Windu loves the Republic. Many of his students quote him to students of their own. Jedi do not fight for peace. That's only a slogan and is as misleading as slogans always are. Jedi fight for civilization, because only civilization creates peace. For Mace Windu, for all his life, for all the lives of 1,000 years of Jedi before him, true civilization has had only one true name: the Republic. He has given his life in service of his love. He has taken lives in its service and lost the lives of innocents. It was all done to save the Republic. Windu had a rather narrow view of Jedi philosophy. While most Jedi built their personal philosophies around principles of peace, justice, and the like, Windu had a much broader perspective. Windu believed in the same principles as every other Jedi, but he held the belief that none of these things could exist without the Republic. Therefore, he built his personal philosophy around one solitary goal: defending the Republic at all costs. This is why Windu seemed to be more callous than most other Jedi. He believed anything that would help the Republic survive was not only justified, but necessary. Mace Windu wasn't the only Jedi who believed that ends justified the means in this way, but he was much more extreme than most. Contrary to popular depiction, Windu was actually much more willing to bend the rules than the average Jedi, but he only bent them if it benefited the Republic. He was willing to support everything from spying on the Supreme Chancellor to killing an unarmed prisoner to save the Republic, even though those crimes were against the Jedi Code. Some fans call Mace Windu a hypocrite for what they perceive as his inconsistent adherence to Jedi doctrine. After all, he regularly criticized Anakin Skywalker for bending the rules and disobeying the Council, but he was perfectly willing to bend the rules himself and kill an unarmed Darth Sidious. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of Windu's moral philosophy, however. Windu wasn't loyal to the Jedi doctrine, he was loyal to the Republic. He supported strict adherence to the Jedi Code, or opposed it when he believed it was beneficial to the Republic. There's no inconsistency here. To Mace Windu, Jedi doctrine was just a tool to be used or discarded depending on what the situation called for. Anakin Skywalker, meanwhile, was a Jedi with different priorities. Everyone's favorite non-Jedi master cared little for institutions and abstract concepts. While Mace Windu almost exclusively focused on the big picture, Anakin was more concerned with individuals. To quote Obi-Wan Kenobi in another passage from the Revenge of the Sith novelization, "For Anakin, there is nothing more important than friendship. He's the most loyal man I've ever met, loyal beyond reason. In fact, abstractions like peace don't mean much to him. He's loyal to people, not to principles, and he expects loyalty in return. He'll stop at nothing to save me, for example, because he thinks I would do the same for him, because he knows I would do the same for him." Anakin Skywalker's personal philosophy was one of loyalty to the people he cared about. He cared deeply about Padme, Obi-Wan, Palpatine, Ahsoka, R2, and many others, and would have given everything for them. There was a darker side to this loyalty though, in that it was synonymous with attachment in the most extreme sense of the word. Anakin did whatever he thought was necessary to protect the ones he loved, even if it was against their wishes, because he was terrified of losing them. His concern for others wasn't quite as selfless as it might seem. This difference in philosophy, for the record, was what brought Anakin into conflict with Windu so often. Neither of the two men disliked or held any sort of grudge against each other, and contrary to what you might think, Windu actually held Anakin in rather high regard. Rather, they clashed because their priorities were so utterly different. Windu's perspective was the broadest possible. He focused exclusively on the galactic scale and was willing to sacrifice anything and anyone for the Republic. Skywalker, on the other hand, focused exclusively on individual beings and was willing to sacrifice anything, even the Republic itself, for the ones he loved. That's why Skywalker saw Windu as cold and callous, while Windu saw Skywalker as reckless. For all their differences, however, Windu and Skywalker were actually alike in a lot of ways. They were both fixed on a singular goal and were willing to uphold or discard Jedi principles in order to pursue it. Like Mace Windu, Anakin Skywalker believed the ends justify the means to an extreme degree. His ends were just different from Windu's. This common philosophical characteristic meant that Windu and Skywalker actually agreed on a whole lot. Until the end of the Clone Wars, they likely would have been on the same side of the Jedi Order's most divisive disagreements. They had vastly different reasons for it, but both were fiercely dedicated to the Republic and were unwavering in their support of the war. Both would have been willing to do almost anything to save the Republic. It was only when Palpatine, who was someone Anakin loved, got in the way of saving the Republic that the two Jedi found themselves at odds. Adi Gallia's personal philosophy was somewhat of a mix of Windu's and Anakin's. Like Skywalker, Gallia was often criticized for being reckless, and many Jedi disapproved of her willingness to work with pirates and other unsavory characters on missions. Though she wasn't nearly as extreme in this regard as Windu or Skywalker, Gallia also believed that the ends justified the means, to the point where she was willing to bend Jedi doctrine when the situation demanded it. She was even willing to skirt the orders of the Jedi Council at times, though not as much as Skywalker. Like Mace Windu, Adi Gallia was fiercely loyal to the Republic, and for much of the same reasons. She detested slavery and tyranny in all forms and saw the Republic as a mechanism to oppose those evils. However, Gallia's loyalty to the Republic wasn't nearly as strong as Windu's. Gallia was willing to work with anti-Republic groups or individuals if they had a common cause. Her opposition to oppression was the core of her moral philosophy, and it took precedence even over the Republic. With that said, she rarely, if ever, stood in opposition to the Republic. All told, Adi Gallia represented a healthier version of Jedi philosophy than Windu or Skywalker. Unlike Windu, she cared more about the conditions of the galaxy than its government, and unlike Skywalker, she wasn't willing to sacrifice the galaxy for the sake of a few people. Gallia's highest priority was the people of the galaxy, and that was how all Jedi were trained to think. Windu and Skywalker both lost the plot in that regard, becoming so focused on specific goals that they lost sight of what really mattered. Mace Windu, Adi Gallia, and Anakin Skywalker were all alike in many ways, but at the same time, there were stark differences between them that made them all unique. But what do you think? Are there other Jedi you'd like us to take a look at? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.